Good morning, lovely people. It's Candy here. Welcome back to my channel. It's early morning. I've got a house that's quiet and to myself, and I wanted to bring you the second video in the self-compassion and tarot series that Hen has started, or Jen, over at Jen's Science to Soul Tarot and Transformation, and I'll leave the links below to Jen's channel. Yesterday was my first card pull. I'm using the Dame Darcy Mermaid Tarot, and I pulled this one, and I know I had quite a strong reaction to it, and if you want to see that, I'll leave the link to my first video down below. So I spent some time with this card, and I think some of the things that came up for me are really useful to share with the collective. So rather than just me pondering about what it means to me, I really wanted to bring something that might be useful for everybody as well as for me. So that's what I'm going to do today, and then I'm going to pull a second card. So the moon and the octopus tentacles in this watery realm. We're in the realm of emotions. We're in the realm of the moon, things under moonlight not quite appearing as they seem. This spoke to me about work on emotions and making sure that you're feeling emotions, that you can identify the right emotions. Also, the mermaid surrounded by the four tentacles. This to me felt like sacred space. The water's very murky over here. It's much brighter here within this area. The four tentacles to me feel like a demarcating of sacred space, whatever that means to you. But she feels like she's protected, she's boundaried, she's in some form of sacred space to do the work. And because we're in the realm of emotions with the water, it made me think about when I first started doing trauma recovery work, and the first point of call for me was emotional literacy. And when I first walked into emotional literacy, and I think many codependents, many people doing self-discovery work, many people who find they're controlled by triggers, we all find ourselves in the same place. We find ourselves beginning to develop emotional literacy, or with a need to develop emotional literacy. And when I first started learning emotional literacy, I could probably only identify the four emotions. There was happy, there was sad, there was angry, and I was confused and dissociated, didn't know what I felt. And for me, the first part of the work was identifying more than that. I just couldn't think of any more than that. I couldn't see the nuances, and that led me into other forms of coping behaviour rather than sitting in the emotions. Now, I've told you that I am also using every night the Dreams of Gaia. I'm pulling the Dreams of Gaia morning and evening, and on the evening I also pulled this, and the two cards together, the woman with her arm, both women with their arms up, almost in like a dancing flowy pose. It just spoke to me of ease and going with the flow. This card means going with the flow, surrender. Again, both watery cards, both talking about an ease of emotion and how do we get there, how do we feel in sacred space with an ease of emotion, even when emotions were in like an ocean of emotions. How do we get to this place? And again, the two cards working together brought me back to that idea of going with the flow and being able to sit in your emotions and being able to identify them. All of these reminders about emotion, it took me back to the start of all of this work that I did on trying to develop emotional literacy, and it reminded me of a 100-day art project I set myself, which I called 100 Days of Feel the Feels. I set myself the challenge for 100 days to journal on any emotions or extreme emotions that I was having, and to sit in the ability to identify them, the nuances of them, and for that I needed some charts. So I spent ages, I printed out circular pie charts with emotions in. This was a really useful chart I found. So charts that give you some core emotions like fear or anger or sadness or happiness, but then they break it down into nuanced aspects of that emotion. So say on here we've got this first column here is happiness, and it gives you strong happiness words, medium happy words, and if you're just lightly happy, words like that. So in the strong happy words, you've got words like delighted, ecstatic, elated, energetic, vibrant, thrilled, overjoyed. In the medium happy words, you've got words like a glow, buoyant, cheerful, gleeful, sparkling, jovial. In the light happy words, you've got things like satisfied, grateful, contented, pleased. So charts like this, I found it so useful. And I've just remembered now, I did start collating emotion words. I collated charts, and then I collated quotes for each emotion. And I started putting together an emotional literacy Pinterest board, which I haven't looked at ages, which if I can work out how to do it, I'll link that as well. If you're interested in this, it's a good resource that I did when I was doing this work, so I'll link that as well. So this was the start of me befriending my emotions, viewing them as what they are, as messengers, and using them to help me understand my reactions, tweak my reactions, let go of some emotions and realise that they don't serve me anymore, or to implement their message, whether that be letting go or embracing something that needed to be integrated or let go of in my life. Emotional literacy, a vital component of getting to a state of ease and going with the flow. I think it's useful for everybody at some point to just check their emotional language and their emotional literacy. If somebody asked you to name the emotions that you feel, do you just go to 4? Because that's what I did for years. I would say, oh, I'm angry, or I'm happy, or I'm sad, or I'm not sure how I feel, confused. There were very few, and to start breaking down emotions and sitting in them and going, well, actually, what is the nuance of that? Yeah, I might be angry, but what does it feel like? Is it just anger, or is it bitter? Is it incensed? Is it seething? Is it storming? Is it grouchy? Is it hostile? Is it offended? Is it just irritated? Is it spitefulness I'm feeling? Am I dismayed? Am I impatient? Am I irked? Am I petulant? It adds nuances to an experience. And then from that, I started drawing in my sketchbook figures of me. I started off with figures, but then it very soon became more of a meditative drawing. I started drawing mandalas because the mandala is about a journey, a circular journey with emotions going round and round, coming back, and a new layer of emotion. And I started writing notes about events every day that had happened and trying to ponder those as I was drawing to find the nuance of the emotion. And I used loads of charts like this. So you can see I have journaling under here, protected because some of this is really personal, and then mandala drawings. Very quickly I stopped doing the writing because I found that the thought process as I drew the mandalas and coloured them in was enough. It was enough to mentally go through the day and to find the keywords and some of the colours and the shapes and the patterns of these mandalas. As I meditated and pondered on emotions and emotional vocab, it was enough to get me to a place of ease and to work out where boundaries might need to be built to protect my emotions, because I was very open unedged, unboundaried person. So that was the start of the project. It very quickly became larger drawings, and I started adding paper cutting as well to really track down some of the emotions that I was feeling, and they turned into larger pieces. And that whole project went on for 100 days. I called it 100 days of Feel the Feels, and it was incredibly useful to expand my emotional literacy and my ability to pinpoint emotions to more than just 4 or 5 key emotions. It helped me to work out where I might need to rein myself in, or where I might need to protect myself. It helped me to get a map of where the boundaries in my life needed to be built. It helped me to find my edges, and with these 2 cards coming up, it's made me realise that with the issues I've got in my life at the moment, my eating disorder being rife again, that I don't feel at ease and in the flow, and that my emotions are all over the place. And I think this is a call to check what the emotions are looking like under the moonlight. And am I in sacred space? Am I in flow with it? Do I actually know what's going on, or am I in the numbing zone again? So that's what I went to bed pondering on the first day of pulling the moon card. And in my journal, which has an elephant on, which might make you smile like it did me when I realised last night, and you'll have to watch the first video to get that, I wrote about this card. I wrote, she's within the water, she's sitting in the emotions, but she's not underwater, she's not overwhelmed, and she's not drowning in it. There is an ease. There is a control here. She can dance. There is a free flow, dancing energy. She's quite literally in her element. The octopus marks out the 4 corners. This is a sacred circle where emotions are at home. Self-compassion and emotions are all at home here. Emotional literacy came first for me, remember? Initially, I could only identify angry, sad, happy and confused, which for me feels like the elements and emotion. Angry is fire, sad is water, happy is earth, confused is air. This marks out a sacred circle with the emotions as the 4 corners. And through my 100-day project, I tried to expand on this, my literacy around emotional words and using them to identify nuances of emotion. And soon back then, I felt myself coming up for air. I still need to remind myself of emotions. I still need to know them, identify them, embrace them, allow them, watch them, hear their message, and know that opening myself up to hear and receive their message will allow me to feel the edges of my own reality, to understand myself, to control the wild seas, the raging waves, or to refill the drought-starved riverbeds. It's a way of allowing myself simply to be at peace and supported by the universe itself. And then the 7 of water mirrored this ease, the flow. Go with the flow. Emotional hardness can be washed away. You have your own boundaries now, and the moon too is full. There is a full moon over the mermaid, and that whispers release, release, release. Release all that doesn't serve you. The past hurts, betrayals, all that was never meant for you, so that the new opportunities can flow. Old energy, fears, harmful things that were toxic patterns, negative attachments, outdated beliefs, let them all flow away when the emotions become your friends and you become fluid. like water. Now, I don't know who else needed that message, but I thought I would share it. So, sitting in the flow of your emotions without being drowned by them, and releasing what isn't meant for you under the full moon, and hearing the message of your emotions, so your emotions becoming your friend. That was key for me in my first recovery, and I think I'd forgotten it. And then I woke up after journaling that, and I pulled for my morning Dreams of Gaia card, Destiny, which is about going internally for the answers, for new paths and your destiny and your purpose and your passions, but it's about going inside. So that kind of keyed in with that idea of looking internally again at my emotions. But then the animal card I pulled with it was the octopus. So, and the octopus in this deck talks about being boundaried, and the octopus is boundarying her here. I think this is talking about self-trust, you know, where if you're boundaried enough, you can really sit in your emotions and own them and start to move forward. And something's just clicked with me. I've just remembered that it was during the 100 days of Feel the Feels project that I connected with the octopus energy. It was during that artwork that I did my first large-scale octopus piece. The mandalas became the tentacles of the octopus. Oh my goodness me, this is all just making so much sense, because the octopus lives in the ocean, and it was a journey through the ocean and through the emotions. And that's where I first met the octopus. And I ended up coming out of my sketchbook that you've just seen into some really large scale, really complex, detailed octopus pictures and drawings, because for me the octopus became the support, it became the boundaries I needed, it became the energy that I wanted to embrace as I began to identify and sit with and befriend the emotions I found in the depths of my psyche. It's all coming together, it's all making sense. So I've literally just realised that in my head as I'm talking to you. And then yesterday's evening card was this card, which was my underlying energy for the week, for my weekly spread as well. And I thought it was saying like to find time to study and to read, because that's the message behind the card. But then I looked at these circles in the back, and it really reminded me of some of the emotion charts that I used. And the animal card was the hawk, which means that whatever message you're getting, to really pay attention, it's divinely sent, it's really important. And I looked at all of this illumination here, and then the illumination on the book. The message is really important. Paying attention to our emotions is really important, and to understand the nuances of them, and to understand that all of our emotions are our friends. They're our personal messengers. They're our personal messengers to find out what needs to change, where we're unsafe, what to follow, what destiny path to follow. But you can only listen to those divine messages when you are in the flow of understanding your emotions. So I highly recommend printing out some emotional literacy charts and sitting in that. I did for 100 days, and I drew mandalas to do with it, and it was really helpful, and I've forgotten it. And I think the problems I'm having at the moment are because I've forgotten it. For me, there has been many years where I didn't do this, and only a very few where I've started trying to do this. So it's easy to forget it and to slip back, and I'm self-compassionate about that. That's okay. It's a really beautiful reminder. The tarot is a beautiful reminder of what we need on the daily. And I think that's why I love tarot so much. So I am going to put the moon card back. I am going to give this beautiful deck, which I love. It's been my first week, and oh boy, what a week it's been with it. And I'm going to give it a quick shuffle. So let's try and do it so that you can see what I'm doing. What do I need to ponder today for self-compassion? Okay, we have the Ace of Pentacles has come out. So the Ace of Pentacles is my card to ponder for the next 24 hours to do with self-compassion. So I will get back to you on that. I hope you find that useful. I hope you find it interesting. Let me know if these videos are useful, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.